Pete Sepp, President of the National Taxpayers Union, thank you for joining us on One America News. You announce a rating of all of the members of Congress. Talk about that rating system and talk about your big announcement.
The results of the 2018 National Taxpayers Union scorecard are likely to disappoint a lot of taxpayers. That's because averages are down across the board, the number of high scorers is down, and the votes that were taken in favor of higher taxes or more spending were highly disappointing.
Why is that? What happened?
While we utilize every single roll call vote affecting taxpayers, there were several high-profile ones where both Democrats and Republicans simply let down taxpayers on the Farm Bill, on a deal to break budget caps, on their failure to pass a balanced budget constitutional amendment. All of these counted against many lawmakers.
A data point, I guess. You said the number of A grades have dropped. What's going on there?
The number of senators and representatives receiving an A on our annual scorecard dropped dramatically. There were only 25 of them between both chambers. Normally, we see twice that amount, even more. This is again due to the fact that many senators, including Republicans, many representatives, including Republicans, voted to go along with a number of high-spending bills without corresponding spending cuts.
And how many A's were there in the Senate, for instance?
There were only 8 A grades in the Senate and 17 A grades in the House. When you consider that there are more than 500 lawmakers between both chambers, it's now easier to understand why federal deficits are headed toward $1 trillion annually.
And the A grades in the Senate, who are we talking about there?
Some of the highest scoring senators included Rand Paul of Kentucky, Mike Lee of Utah, James Lankford of Oklahoma. They all did well, but many of their Republican colleagues just couldn't get a voting record that was up to snuff.
And talk about in the House, what kind of members are we talking about there? Are these familiar names to people who've been paying attention for a while? Talk about that a little bit.
Taxpayers who've been paying close attention to voting records in Congress will see some familiar names in the House of Representatives. Tom McClintock of California was the #1 scorer. He's often been in the #1 position. He was a great taxpayer's friend at the state level when he worked in that government. He's an excellent one now. You also see members of the House Freedom Caucus. Jim Jordan of Ohio, for example, a consistent high scorer.
Andy Biggs of Arizona as well, I think.
Andy Biggs of Arizona was another A grade on our annual rating.
There's certainly some interesting information in here, the ratings, there are some surprises. Were there some other surprises to you, Mr. Sepp?
The overall average for the United States Senate is only a 38% score. In the House, it's 49%. Republicans generally did slightly better than average, Democrats slightly lower than that average, but the overall work product of Congress is one that taxpayers should be very concerned about. When you can't even see a typical voting record of a lawmaker scoring at least half the time in favor of taxpayers, you have serious trouble, not only in the year that it happens, but in the years ahead.
Pete Sepp, President of the National Taxpayers Union, thank you for talking to One America News. It's good to catch up with you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.